So our next speaker is going to join us virtually. Um, so let's bring him up. Okay. Okay. I'd like to introduce Christopher Howes from IBM's Digital Asset Infrastructure Group. And Christopher is going to talk a little bit about how IBM is thinking about blockchain and digital assets. So Christopher, over to you.
Thanks for the introduction, Tim. First I want to thank you and Yifan for the opportunity to share this exciting day with you. It's commendable, and I want to take a moment to commend the BSN and Red Date teams because it's an exceptional achievement that this day represents. The potential that's now starting to be realized in blockchain and blockchain tech. It's really only the beginning, and what the type of tech that this team has developed, deployed, run, and scaled here in China, it's only a glimpse of what can come, and especially what the Spartan network can bring to blockchain. So I look forward to seeing the broader set of innovations that are built atop of it. I also want to echo what Mr. Leung said earlier, that Hong Kong has tremendous potential, not only culturally, but as a tech hub. And I'm thrilled that BSN has chosen Hong Kong as their home. And I found that, as you have found, that the innovative spirit of Hong Kong business has been pivotal in you exploring the use cases your technology can enable. So very happy to see everybody in Hong Kong today. Well, as Tim mentioned, I'm Chris Howes, and I lead the digital asset infrastructure business for IBM in Asia Pacific and Japan. And now what that means is I get a front row seat to seeing all the truly amazing ideas that come from Asian entrepreneurs, from financial institutions, and the other businesses that are starting to weave digital assets and blockchain into their business. I'm coming to you today from the beautiful port city of Ningbo in the Zhejiang province of China. I wish I could be there with all of you today, but obviously we're not quite there yet, being able to travel. But in the few minutes that I have, I want to briefly discuss some of the use cases I'm seeing emerge more and more in enterprise blockchain, but also discuss the world best technology that IBM is bringing into this space as well. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned a minute ago, I have a short time, but I want to mention some of the use cases that I've been seeing more and more over the last few months and really the last few years, and discuss how IBM technology is securing these and other digital assets. So enterprise blockchain continues to mature. And I think everybody that's in the room and in this meeting right now knows this. And the new technologies such as BSN Spartan are allowing deep reach into businesses of all sizes and industries for blockchains. The use cases that are being discovered for current and emerging opportunities, they're varied, and they're just as varied as each industry itself. But we're starting to see real progress. I mean, blockchains are starting to scale. There's real limitations to the universal consensus that Yifan was talking about earlier. And so finding ways to right-size consensus mechanisms and right-size operational, structural, and mathematical schemes, it's been significant in scaling blockchains. And these newer generation of blockchains are really able to scale to what the real world needs. Tech like the BSN Spartan network, it will just increase that applicability to many of these businesses. And developers will be in control. They'll be in control of what methods they need to secure their own networks and assets, and by extension, will allow them to scale as they need for their enterprises. But related to that, enterprise distributed applications or enterprise dApps, they're still nascent, but there's more and more use cases that I'm seeing, and they'll drive real business value. It's a natural extension of blockchain in the enterprise when you think about it. So when you can extend this kind of value between enterprises and to clients of the enterprises as well, there are going to be some new services that can be delivered that would have been incredibly complex, high risk, and maybe not even possible with previous technologies. But now with blockchain technologies, they become viable. It seems everybody has talked a little bit about tokenization of some kind today, but tokenization doesn't always have to mean financialization. And so we've heard some use cases today that really speak to that. We're seeing tokenization that do have a financial element to them, but there's many other ways for tokenization. I mean, Mr. Tsang this morning from Emperor Group discussed, their related gift vouchers and some of the ways that they can incent loyalty and in the customer service space to really use the blockchain to create a great user experience for their clients. I saw some other examples over lunch of IP registration for intellectual property, learning achievement records, medical records. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, I personally joined the SCMP, minted some NFTs recently for their Hong Kong 25th anniversary of the handover, and I was participating in that, and just seeing the community, and then seeing the effort to preserve memories, the last 25 years on the blockchain. It was just a really cool thing to see, and it's just, to me, showing what the potential, even early stages, of what you can have happening on the blockchain. And not only are we getting some great pictures, but we're also getting these real life experiences that can interact with the staff of the newspaper and sharing experiences with others. So it's great to see what's being done in this space. Related in some ways is the concept of creating cross-enterprise chains, governed by, because if you have organizations that are governed by different regulations and policies, the ability to share data is very difficult. So blockchain is allowing, in many ways, data to be disambiguated in a way, right? And then to allow for data to be shared between different enterprises, different legal entities, and it makes more sense, right? Once you have these blockchain structures, I could go on and on. Customer identity is kind of a big deal, in enabling all of these things. But I wanted to talk specifically about IoT. I really haven't heard anybody today talk about, the integration of our real life and what goes on around us into the blockchain. I worked for a long time in the product realization space for IoT devices, and the amount of data that comes off of these devices is enormous. I mean, we've seen an explosion of sensors and connected devices, and it allows for that data to be collected, synthesized, and acted upon across many different spaces. So when you add blockchain to that, it puts a layer of control over that data, and it increases access, but also increases privacy and control. And that really creates what we talked about earlier. You have that better information sharing between entities. And so these are all, areas of discussion that I've been involved with and that I've seen myself. But IBM as an organization has been in this space for 8 years. And we have thousands of projects between our consulting, our technology, and our cloud businesses. So this is not a new space for the IBM company. And so we have a deep and broad set of tech and skills, and we can help significantly improve value and result in blockchain projects. But specifically today, the team that I represent is our digital asset infrastructure team. And so that specifically takes advantage of IBM's technology and the decades of proven technology and delivery to the largest financial institutions and governments in the world. We have a way of applying our unique technical security technology and traditional security technology to the digital asset space. But we also added new capabilities to that so that we can have some specific parts of this that will enhance the overall ability to interact with digital assets. And what it does is it gives us an unmatched proposition for value and security in the industry. Next slide. So first, I want to make sure that I define digital asset in our context. So we define digital assets as representations of value or right that may be transferred or stored digitally using cryptographically secured digital ledger technology. So that's a mouthful, but it's very important because it can be a lot of things. So obviously, cryptocurrency is a big one. Stable coins, CBDCs, right on the financial side, or tokens like securities, commodities, governance tokens, mortgages, utility tokens, right? They can also be non-financial. So somebody talked about art, in-game merchandise, music, real estate, digital storage, right? So all these things can be digital assets. So what does IBM do for this space? So we've developed a set of technologies that are institutional grade by design, but they're accessible to any size, scale, or type of business that needs to secure assets. So I'm happy to hear Richard earlier from HSBC mention the exciting work that we're doing with HSBC globally to help them deploy tokenization and the digital asset custody into their global enterprise. Our solutions bring technical assurance and technically assured security with trusted execution and what we call compliance as law. All of these capabilities are backed by the only commercially available FIPS 140-2 Level 4 HSM and Common Criteria EAL 5+ workload isolation. Why does that matter? Well, first, because nobody else can offer it. We have the ability, and we're the only hardware IT vendor that can deliver those capabilities, and not only on premises, but in the cloud as well. Just as Richard mentioned earlier, our clients need to be able to deliver whatever scale their clients throw at them. So we design everything to scale because we have to. That's what our clients need. So specifically in the digital asset infrastructure, we deliver technically assured policy where we can bring auditable regulatory compliant attestation to the code that's executing the rules in the smart contract. So what does that mean? Most solutions require a significant level of operational assurance, but what we do is we add another layer of technical assurance. So we can not only say that what's happening within these contracts, within this code, is what we expect operationally, but we can assure that this is technically what's happening. The systems themselves will not do what they're being asked to do unless what is the code is attested to and has been deployed correctly. But this can only be done, with the full stack that we have. We call this compliance code as law. Secondly, we enable trusted execution environments, and those carry the highest level of security available commercially today, both in cloud and on premises. It's not as interesting as crypto custody, but in this space, moving from one custodian to another, can be high risk, right? In the cryptocurrency space, that's a big deal. A lot of folks here, I know there's a session right after me talking about the, non-crypto blockchain, but for many of our customers, the ability to migrate seeds is very important. And today, many times it has to be done on chain, or seeds have to be migrated in a way that's not secure. But we have the ability to do that off chain, and we can do off chain ledger seed migration, where the seeds can be migrated from one custodian to another safely, with no need for on-chain transactions. So you can save a lot of money, a lot of time, and do so safely. We've also enabled audit as you deploy for policies, where attestation from roles such as risk and compliance, it's part of the technical assurance of the deployed solution. We're able to enable deployment of immutable verified policies into secure execution environments, where third-party attested software can be deployed with compliance and approval workflows, but all done without human interference or insider collusion. Technically assured, completely technically assured. Ifan mentioned earlier that a bad smart contract isn't the fault of the blockchain when it does something bad. Bad code isn't the fault of the cloud provider if it does something bad. But even if you deploy a good smart contract, you still have to have some level of security on top of it. So we're able to add another layer of intelligence and compliance on top of audited smart contracts, so they can't be manipulated into bad ones. We have the ability to do quantum safe within our keys, which is a big deal these days because there's more and more talk about how secure keys are for the long term. So it's a big deal, and it's a big conversation point for us lately. And we were incredibly excited when we saw that the NIST announced that 3 of the 5 curves they approved for quantum safe were IBM curves, and that we'd already enabled them into our HSMs. So it was, in many ways, an endorsement of our way of thinking. So we do have significant capabilities around scaling and MPC. Those are more in the crypto custody space. But we'll be rolling out digital asset custody as a service as well in the near future to really bring this to a broader set of users. So all this, as I've mentioned a couple of times, is built on the technology that can be deployed on-prem using our Linux One servers or on cloud services in IBM Cloud. From the beginning, we knew that the digital asset space would be diverse. So we've made it easy to do this on premises, in the cloud, or hybrid. And so the option to deliver these services is all 3. So we've seen a tremendously positive response. And I've taken many meetings with teams in Hong Kong recently. Many of these capabilities will also add an additional dimension to the sensitive workloads that we'll see on the Spartan network. So we look forward to seeing what the ecosystem comes up with. And we can help with those blockchains applications of the future so we can scale and grow them, but in a secure and compliant manner. So I look forward to talking with any one of you that wants to bring the world's best capability into their blockchain-based workloads. So with that, I'll pass back to Tim. Once again, I want to express my gratitude for being here and the excitement that I have for what's going on for BSN. So Tim, I'll pass it back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. We look forward to seeing you in person.